You know, we're always pleased to welcome a guest on the Breakfast Show. Today we are particularly pleased because we thought we were never going to meet. I won't bore you with the reasons, but there are a series of mishaps. But anyway, Darren Cooper, Vice Chairman of West Midlands Combined Authority, is finally here. Good morning and welcome, Darren.
Thank you.
We hear so much about the West Midlands Combined Authority, but does it actually, is it a being yet, or is it just still in the planning stages?
Well, it's still in the planning stages. We formed recently a shadow board to demonstrate our intent as the 7 local councils. That's the Black Country Councils, Walsall, Dudley, Sandwell and Wolverhampton, Solihull, Birmingham and Coventry, to sort of demonstrate to people that we are prepared to work together, basically.
Is this not a push for devolution for this part of the world?
It could turn into that. We're currently talking to government about a devolution deal. And we're in some negotiations with them, but nothing's been agreed at this stage. It's a case of having a conversation, and this all stems really from the Scottish referendum, actually, where both of the main political parties said that we needed to devolve more powers down to regions for them to be able to work more collaboratively to get better outcomes for local people.
I mean, I can see the argument for you know, we have a parliament in Scotland, we have an assembly in Wales, etc., and in Northern Ireland. But I just wonder, within England itself, what would anybody, you, me, anyone, gain from there being one combined authority?
Well, particularly for the West Midlands, you've got, and the councils I've just talked about, there are 7 councils. Currently there's some good stuff going on in those local councils. But there isn't a mechanism or a framework in which those councils can come together formally to work more collaboratively across border. So, for example, investment in transport infrastructure, getting people where new jobs are being created, getting people from one place to another. So those councils working together, along with business, actually, because as part of our combined authority, our 3 local enterprise partnerships are part of that model. So we're working hand in glove with business to try and get their economy, the local economy, as well as transport infrastructure, jobs and skills moving in our area.
You say you're talking to government about it. I suppose people will say, well, I don't mind the idea, but how will it be better as an authority? Now, you said earlier that you can work together and on transport policy and things like that, but can you not do that as individual authorities?
Yeah, but if you really do need a formal legal framework to sort of link people together. But I could also, Bob, if I got the opportunity, dispel a few myths. This isn't a super council which it's been described as. It doesn't mean that Sandwell's council tax or Dudley's or Solihull's council tax is going to be determined by this new body. It's just I mean, the combined authority as it's proposed is just a legal framework in which we can work closer together. Now, we've got some other examples, of course, because we've got West Midlands Fire, we've got West Midlands Police, and of course we also have, and this is a different debate, but a Police and Crime Commissioner that covers our region as well. Now we can have the debate about whether Police and Crime Commissioners are any good or not in that context. But we have got a framework with those other bodies already that we all work together within.
Okay. So if this went ahead, let's just presuppose for a moment it does, would they all disappear? So there wouldn't be Solihull Borough Council, District Council, whatever it was. There wouldn't be Sandwell, etc. It would all be one. So all the logos would go, all the notepaper would go, all the rest of it.
No, that's simply not the case.
Okay.
Sandwell will remain Sandwell. I will remain the leader of Sandwell as long as my council
continues,
as long as they want me, and they continue to elect me. The same for Solihull, Coventry, Walsall, or any of the other councils. What will happen is a board will come together of the existing politicians, e.g. the leaders of those councils, with the leaders of the business community, with a view to making decisions around issues that affect all of us, not the sort of minutiae things that go on every day, like the street cleaning and street lighting. It's not about that. It's about big, key, strategic things, yeah, that affect the whole region as opposed to individual local authorities.
Okay, I can see that. You mentioned, we've got about 40 seconds left now, but you mentioned earlier about, you know, the government wanting there to be a mayor, right, like the Mayor of London. They were going to have one in Birmingham, but nobody wanted it, did they?
That's true. There was a referendum both in Birmingham and in Coventry for a city mayor. The new proposal is a metro mayor, so it's a regional mayor. It's a different concept. I've in the past opposed city mayors. I still do. I'm currently thinking very long and hard about whether we can get some real benefits for our region if we have a metro mayor, but I still need convincing, Bob.
If it happens, does it become a political event with a small p rather than a big P, the West Midlands Combined Authority, do you think?
In terms of the mayor?
Yes.
Well, if it happens, and there's a big if there, but yes, it will be.
Would a mayor be a good figure? I mean, would it be a sort of an identity for people?
Well, there are some bonuses and benefits to it because, you know, potentially with the way the combined authority is lining up, we could be representing a population of 4 million people. So to have a visible person who can speak up, go down actually and knock on David Cameron's door and say, we're not getting a good deal on this, that or the other for the West Midlands. So there's a benefit in that. But you know, the public are generally quite sceptical about, and I agree with them, about having more politicians. But of course, the new proposal, the difference between what was a city mayor, which has been rejected by Birmingham and Coventry, is different in the context that this person will represent a region. So it's it could be a powerful position, but also there's a lot of scepticism about the power that one individual will have. So if we do, you know, and obviously there's talks ongoing, but if we go down that path, we'll need to have a really good governance model so people's and local councils and people's identities remain paramount.
Do you think that, to some extent, that has been governed by the fact that the London Mayor, Boris Johnson, is such a colourful character?
Yeah, and there is an element of that. You know, politicians, you know, come across sometimes as quite dour, don't they? I mean, you know, I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody else, but you know, I'm quite like flamboyant in the way that I approach things. But I think that's about my personality, and each person's different. But I think the crucial part of this is, what is that person going to stand for? What are they going to do? Yeah, and how are they going to speak up for our region? You know, I'm from Smethwick, born and bred, very proud. But I'm also proud of coming from the West Midlands. You know, and wherever I go, and abroad or wherever, you know, I promote our area.
If there is a mayor, does he need to have a political affiliation?
I'm a politician. I'm going to say yes, Bob. You know, I'm going to be honest. You know, and if we do have a mayor, I want it to be a Labour politician. But of course, the electorate will make that decision, as they always do in a democracy.
I mean, it was interesting. You said a couple of minutes ago to me that, you know, it's somebody, if we have that figure, they need to be able to go knock on David Cameron's door. Isn't the whole point of having somebody in that position and having this devolved authority that you don't have to do that you have got the power yourself?
Yeah, and there is a certain amount of things that you can do within your own region and with people working together, pulling in the same direction. But frankly, we've heard a lot of talk recently about this northern powerhouse. Yeah, Manchester, the Manchester City region, are doing a lot better than we are, and I think we've lost out. You know, the Midlands used to be, and you know, the powerhouse, didn't it?
Birmingham is after all the second city, isn't it?
Indeed, and so therefore we need to make sure that we get our fair share of resources in these difficult times.
So what has Manchester done then? Because I mean, there are people who do think that Manchester has eclipsed Birmingham as the second city. What has it done?
Well, first of all, the people who think that can think again, because that isn't the case. You know,
yes. Fair point.
What they've actually done is what we're about to do or embarking on doing, and that is that for a long time, the Manchester councils have been working very, very closely together. We've had difficulties for different reasons here in the West Midlands, and particularly in our region, in the Black Country, and Birmingham, and relationships and tribalism, at times has been rife. I've tried with my council leader colleagues to nail that one and say, look, yeah, I'm proud of coming from Samwell, Smethwick, whatever, but the fact is we have to work together, in a more positive way to get better outcomes for our region. We've lost out, and we really need to pick that up.
Yeah. I mean, you're in a situation, you mentioned that one of the recent people to join the West Midlands Combined Authority is Coventry. I'm trying to think, putting tribal issues aside, what connection and correlation there is between Coventry there and Wolverhampton there?
Absolutely, and this is what astounded me. When you actually look at the data, e.g. where people work, where they travel from work to work, and vice versa, the evidence of people actually living in Samwell, there are people who work in Coventry. There are people in Coventry that commute to Birmingham to Samwell. So the fact of the matter is that the evidence suggests, that people don't see those local authority boundaries, business don't see those local authority boundaries, but what they actually do is get on with their lives and travel across borders. And it's only people like me, politicians like me, who put these rings around the areas that we actually represent.
Do you think that if this does happen, and you get all these people in there, that they're going to become so defensive of their area and their region that it's going to be a bit of a bloodbath in some of those meetings, isn't it?
Well, I think in the past, negotiations between certain local authorities have been a bit like that. But, frankly, we've got some grown-up politicians in our region. We've got some progressive politicians in our region. And I think that people see, particularly the politicians now see, that working together in this collaborative way is the only way forward. And frankly, Bob, I'm very privileged to be elected by the people of Smethwick as a councillor. So I believe I have a duty to do the best I can in the interests of the majority of our people.
And presumably, once everybody gets together, they could begin to see that working as a one big unit in many ways could only be for the good of the here comes that word, the Greater West Midlands.
Absolutely, and I think that is the key message that we need to give people. And frankly, if and when the combined authorities form, and that is likely to happen around April next year, the vast majority of people won't notice an immediate difference at all. They'll just carry on with their lives. But what we will be able to do as their elected leaders is to begin that work to really drive this region forward. We are a great region. I'm proud of our region, but we need a framework now in which all of us can come together to deliver those better outcomes for people.
What do you think the likelihood is that it is going to go ahead?
I'm pretty confident that the combined authority aspect will go ahead. Don't forget, we're dealing with legislation that was initiated in 2009 in relation to combined authorities. The bit that's going to be more difficult, I think, is the actual devolution offer that's coming down from central government, and whether or not we, and our local businesses think that by having a Metro Mayor, based on what's offered to us, is the way forward at this moment in time. We've said all along, we want to walk before we run, and I think that's where we're roughly at.
Is there the danger that if, as a combined authority, there is an agreement on something, say it's to do with transport, just for the sake of argument, and then those people who sit on that then go back to their own councils and say, this is what we want to do, or this is what we're going to do, that the rest of the council turn around and say, well, you may have agreed that at that meeting, but...
There needs to be democratic accountability, and there will be certain powers on key strategic issues like transport and skills that will be given to the combined authority from those local authorities. But of course, me being the leader of Samwell, I'll always have to go back to Samwell Council, and people will be able to question me, as they do now on many issues at full council meetings, question me about the decisions that have been taken. And to be fair, a lot of the decisions will have been taken at a local council level first before being discussed at the combined authority level.
Is there a danger that the whole thing will become Birmingham-centric?
No, to be honest. And if we start slipping into that, then we're back into the tribalism. The fact of the matter is, Black Country, for example, has a population of around 1.1 million people. Is that bigger or is it smaller than Birmingham? So if you get into those arguments, you can see where I'm going with that. It's not about that. We have to. Birmingham's it's our second city. We should be proud of that. I'm proud of that. But the fact of the matter is, it's not about individual authorities anymore. It's about that collective getting a bigger bang for our region. Indeed, I was first elected for the Sir Victoria Award in Smethwick in 1991. I think I was 26, almost 27.
What was the attraction? Because not too many people in their 20s want to go into local politics, do they?
No, that's true. The attraction for me was, at the time, I was working at All Saints Hospital, because my professional background is a mental health nurse. And I started to see some of the changes that were taking place, and particularly around patients and the patients being discharged into the community and that kind of. So I started to take an interest in politics. But to be fair, I've been interested in politics from my days at school, and actually my father, he stood in the ward that I now represent in the 60s, but not for the Labour Party.
Oh, family conflict, eh? Really?
He stood for the Communist Party, actually.
Did he indeed?
Indeed. Yeah. But the late, great Andrew Foles, who was the MP for Worley at the time, persuaded my father that his politics lay in the Labour Party.
The error of his ways, eh?
Indeed.
Yeah, that's interesting. But you say when you're working in the health service that you got the interest. I mean, do you think that at local level it should be a political situation, or should you be there representing people, whatever?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a Labour man through and through. So that's. But I'm also very proud of Smethwick, very proud of where I come from, and my role really is to stand up, and be counted for the people in my area, many of which I've grown up with. So yeah, but I think you have to have. There is a difference between, despite what people think, between Labour, Conservative, Liberal, etc., and my values are more, and have always been, towards the Labour Party. Difficult times, some might argue, for Labour, with our change of leadership.
Yeah. And what a change. I mean, when you think the direction the party was taking in after John Smith, with Tony Blair and then with Gordon Brown, I mean, and then with Ed Miliband. I mean, this is a serious change, isn't it?
It is a significant change. But
you in favour?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why I'm in favour, because the vast majority of Labour Party members voted for the new leader. I didn't vote for the leader for the leader myself, but I'm a Democrat, and a democratic decision has been, and he's got a very good mandate. But for me also, the new deputy leader, who's one of our local members of Parliament, Tom Watson, who's also a good friend, that's a really prestigious thing for us in Samwell and for the West Midlands, I think. The deputy leader of a major political party.
So if you stop shedding tears over May the 7th, are you shedding tears about your football team at the moment, or are you thinking, no, it's early days, I'm
kind of like that at the moment.
West Brom supporter, in case you haven't realised.
Yeah, big Baggies fan, Bob. Big Baggies fan. I think you've got the first 10 games for me in any season kind of gives you an outlook as to where you're going to be for the whole season. I think the expectation, because this time Jeremy Peace has spent some money, has been raised. We've had a couple of difficult seasons, touting with relegation. So I'm kind of
right. We'll keep our fingers crossed for you. Darren, we've got to leave it there. Thank you so much for talking this morning about the West Midlands Combined Authority.